Good morning. Is Rick awake? He's awake.
Oh,
There he is.
I'm
I
trying
thought he
to.
passed out.
I am here. I I was just thinking. I'm like, you just sent me all these, and I got to find them.
Oh, the question. Yeah.
I just had a complete brain meltdown.
Oh, that's funny. Good stuff.
So it may take
So we
me a
got
second
part
to find them.
3. We have so many questions that we have to add a third part to the question episode.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, it's awesome. I think it's really cool too because some of the questions are like more like Sly related. Some of the questions are obviously Rocky related. Some are Rambo. Some are just the work itself.
Yeah.
It's a pretty broad spectrum. Can't speak
Right.
today of questions. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, Sly called me yesterday and he said, "It is what it is because it's that way, and that's how I want." No, I'm only kidding.
There you go. That's what happens,
Mind your P's and Q's. No,
right?
I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding.
Oh, that's funny.
No, but they're
Yeah,
fun. This has been fun. This has been fun.
I like it. I think it's pretty cool. I mean, obviously, chances are we won't have these questions answered. But you never know. You never know. I mean, he might pick one or two that seems interesting. He might go with it. But if not, it's just a fun way to kind of, what would you do, type of deal.
And not only that, but how other people view the question and what their answer may be. Like you and I dissect the question and our opinions. Can be completely off base of his opinion.
Yeah. No, definitely. I agree. And that's the fun part about it. Because sometimes you don't see it through somebody else's eyes. You're like, oh, okay,
Right.
yeah, I didn't think about that. That's pretty cool. So
Absolutely.
well, you had a question left over, you said still for that we had on our own lists.
I do. I had one more question. I mean, there's a million, but
yeah.
So going back to Rocky, and we know what a low budget film, it was, and what it took to make it, and how many days it took to make it, and we all know that a lot of his clothes, the jacket, the shoes, he did buy the fedora, but the sweatsuit came from his own closet, his own drawers. My question is how many other movies have affected his life with wardrobe? Does he when he does these movies, does he have any say? Does he have any input? Because there's been some iconic things that he has worn other than the fedora and the leather jacket, the gray sweatsuit. I remember when The Specialist came out. Was it The Special? No, I'm sorry. I'll think of it in a minute. He had these it was a Specialist with Sandra Bullock and Stallone. He had those sunglasses. No, that was not The Specialist. Help me out, Tony. That was Specialist was Sharon Stone. The one with Wesley Snipes. Demolition Man.
Oh, Demolition Man. Okay.
Yeah. He had these sunglasses I wanted, and I searched everywhere. I couldn't find them. Get Carter with the blue suit and the goatee.
Yeah.
Tulsa King now with the goatee. My question is out of all these characters he's played, is there something that has influenced him that he's kept in his life?
Right.
As a mainstay.
It might be. I mean, because when you're playing a character, and again, I'm not acting trained by any means. I'm just rolling with it. What I would think it would be. I would think you'd want to put, of course, make the character your own, make it yourself, and you'd want things that kind of make you feel comfortable. I mean, if I had to wear and dress a certain way that's completely out of character for the character and for me, that wouldn't make sense. I mean, if you're playing a character and you got to wear a gray shark skin suit and you never would in real life, that's a different story.
Right.
But, like you're saying with the sunglasses, I'm sure, and again, I'm speculating, I'm sure he's trying them on, looking at himself going, yeah, these will work. Those
right.
I would think.
I can't tell you, I spent how many hours in the malls looking for those sunglasses from Demolition Man.
Isn't it funny on how like the older films, and I say older, with a broad spectrum there, but like nowadays, things that you see in movies, you're so easy to find. You could type in Google.
Oh yeah.
Whatever. Tony Stark glasses. Boom.
Yeah.
20 websites pop up. You can buy the exact replica of Tony Stark glasses. And back when, like you said, you had to like pause the movie, kind of
Yeah.
look at them. Are they Ray-Bans? What are they?
Right.
And then
Right.
kind of research it and figure out what it is.
And we didn't have cell phones to take a picture of the screen, you
No,
know.
no. You had to wait for the movie to come out on tape so you could pause
Right.
it.
You're going to, what was it, Sunglass Hut and all these other stores looking for,
Hmm.
and that was just one thing. I mean, Avenging Angelo, he had these really cool button ups, short sleeve. I'm like, oh, I love those. So I was on a
There's
kick with
actually a
that.
website now that has that. It has wardrobe. I don't know the name of the website, but
Really?
yeah, it has where you can go on it and say, I want to know the wardrobe of Avenging Angelo. And they'll talk about, Sly's wardrobe and the supporting characters' wardrobes and
Okay.
a certain sweater, whatever. It started. One of my daughters was looking at something for Friends, the TV show Friends,
Yeah. Yeah.
and each of the pieces that everybody was wearing, and even some of the background stuff, like the planter and things. They got this at this store, they got that at that.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, like you said, with Google and the internet, there's almost nothing you can't get now.
Right. Right.
I mean, now it's a lot easier to find now, a lot easier or a lot faster, I should say, maybe not,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
easier.
We'd walk around aimlessly. That's not them.
Well, like you said, and then you got to have a picture of the glasses, and kind of match them up, and
Yeah.
it's
I don't
tough.
know. It was just, because like I said, he's been in so many iconic roles, Paradise Alley with the hat, did
Yeah,
that come with the Rocky Four? You know what I'm saying? There's just so many things he's brought along. One of it was his personal items, and then what did he take along in his life journey that he kept
right,
in his
right.
wardrobe and continues to wear, or a
There
style
have
that
been
he,
pictures with him in the Rocky Four leather sheep shirling, whatever you want
yeah,
to call it,
yeah. You're right. I just saw
jacket
one.
out and about. I mean,
Right.
so I don't know if that's the exact jacket or it's just a replica, but I've seen other pictures with him with that on.
Yes.
So maybe he does. I mean, I mean, I would. I mean, unless you're playing something that, like that kid that played Elvis Presley in the movie Elvis that was just recently made. Obviously, he's not going to have anything in his wardrobe like that, like those costumes. But outside of something like that, where you got to play a person that this is the way they dressed, I would
Yeah.
think you'd want to kind of make it a little bit of yourself, a little bit of
Right.
your own.
Well, I mean, the Elvis movie with the earlier stuff, I could see
Yeah, yeah,
Austin Butler,
yeah.
yeah, wearing. I mean, because let's face it, this stuff looked good.
Oh,
The black and the
awesome.
pink and all, and all that stuff.
Oh yeah,
Not the jumpsuits.
yeah. Although he pulled it off though, so him and Elvis
Yeah.
both.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think
Tremendous.
I could play 1977 almost, fat Elvis. That's what I would do.
Ah.
Belly.
We'll both dye our hair like jet black and grow sideburns really long.
Oh my goodness. So we got other questions from other people as well, like
What do you
last
got,
week.
Tony?
Well, I'll start off one. We got one from our good friend Tim Wistard.
Hey,
There he is
Tim.
with the new Instagram handle there, Canadian Kid 73. Good year, Tim 73.
Mm-hmm.
He had a good question. Said my Sly some great deleted scenes in the Rocky franchise. He wants to know what scenes would you have added into each of the films, and more importantly, he says why. So we kind of had a little bit of this discussion last week about the Spider Rico's funeral and whatnot,
Right.
but there's quite a few deleted scenes that we've never saw. More so for like Rocky, Rocky 2, Rocky 3, a little bit for Rocky 4, because then you started seeing a lot more. I really haven't seen too many deleted scenes for Rocky 3.
No, the only one I can think of, and I've never seen it, but I've heard it was when Rocky and Polly are in the parking garage after he bails them out or something. He says, "We both came from the same neighborhood," something like that. I've never seen it, but I've heard of it. I've heard other
Mm-hmm,
people talk about, it could have been either one of us. I got the lucky
mm-hmm.
break, you didn't, or something. Now,
Right.
I guess it might have even been on a trailer back back when the movie came out, but
Mm-hmm.
I've never personally seen it, but I've heard it a few times.
That drives me completely insane when they show a trailer for a film
Oh
and
yeah.
there's a scene in the trailer
Yep.
and then you see the movie, but the scene's not in the movie.
Oh my God, yeah.
What are you? Why? What are
I'm
you
right there
doing?
with you. I'm right there with you on that one. You're killing me, Smalls.
Definitely. But anyway, back to Tim's question. Yeah, I mean, I would love to know, like we discussed, what scenes would he? I mean, especially since he directed 2, 3, 4. What would he? Obviously, we know what he would do with 4. He already did it.
Right.
Uh, what would he do to 3? Would he just put one scene in that? You know what? I wish I would have done this. I don't know. I mean, it's good. It's a great question.
Yeah.
Obviously, only he could answer. But again, I haven't really seen too much for 3. We know about
Mhm.
the deleted scenes for 2. There's the one obviously with Adrian in the end. There's the one
Yes.
Adrian where they're walking the baby in the carriage.
Yes. Yes.
Um, there's definitely more than a handful from 2, uh, and then 3. Like I said, we saw 4. I don't know. I don't know what he would do.
Yeah.
There's
And
nothing that stands out.
5, we've seen the grainy footage on YouTube,
Yeah,
which it's difficult to watch,
yeah,
just
yeah.
because of the visual of it. Not the
But again,
story.
he didn't direct that one, so
True.
he
True.
could tweak it and do a little bit of things to it. But it was, oddly enough, it was John Alvinson who did the original.
Yeah.
Um, and then, of course, he did Balboa, and we've seen the deleted scenes from that and stuff.
Right. Right.
But so I guess basically we're dealing with 2 and 3 theoretically.
Yeah, because everything
Um,
from Rocky's been burned, right?
that's what I read, and I have heard from other people that there was some kind of fire at United Artists or MGM or whatever, one of the studios, and whatever was left around or lying around is burned. And then supposedly Frank Stallone has a lot of home videos from a lot of that stuff. Um, and then if you saw the documentary about John G. Alvinson, where he had a lot of the behind the scenes from Rocky
Right. Yes.
home footage that Derek Wayne Johnson did, which if you haven't seen that, please go watch it.
Oh
Phenomenal
yeah, phenomenal.
documentary.
Phenomenal.
But there was a lot of that there. But outside of that, I don't know of any actual film stock
Right.
that survived to be put into a film, into a director's
Right.
cut, so to
Right.
speak.
I mean,
And like I said, I never even heard a lot of Rocky 3 stuff
no. And
in
there's been a lot
general.
of pictures coming out of the woodwork, like you and I talked about before, from um just I just saw one yesterday, I can't remember, with Rocky and Adrian walking. They're walking on the street and she was pregnant. That wasn't not in the
Right.
in the movie.
Well,
And
there's also the scene where she gives him the Win Rocky Win t-shirt.
yeah,
She gives him the blue
right.
t-shirt.
Or how
And
about when Apollo's wearing his blue t-shirt?
yeah.
You know, a lot of stuff. A lot
Oh,
of stuff.
there is. So yeah, Tim, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff, and I would love to know why as well. That would be a
Yeah,
great question to answer. So who you got? You got a couple over there.
I do. I do. Okay, this is from Stacy.
Miss
And
Stacy.
Stacy
Let's put
says,
Miss Stacy up. Stacy, face to
there she
face. Look at her.
is. She's
Had me
always
at yo.
smiling. She's
She
always
is. I don't think I've
smiling.
ever seen her not smile. Happy lady. Good stuff.
um, okay, so Stacy wants to know if you could swap your life with any other actor or person of influence, who would it be and why?
Ooh, interesting question. And see, this is what I was talking about earlier on how they're not just all movie related or Rocky related. Like that's a great
Right,
question. Like who would, if he could swap himself to be whomever he
right.
chose? Uh, wow. I mean, we could obviously. Well, she didn't say a living or dead.
No,
So obviously, if we speculate the dead part, we know who that's going to be.
Steve Reeves,
Yeah,
Edgar Allan Poe,
yeah,
um,
I would
Charlie
think.
Chaplin.
Yeah, something like that. But you never know. I mean, he might have. He might have said, "Let me. I want to switch roles with Rocky Marciano."
Yeah.
You
Do
never
you, do
know.
you think he'd want to switch roles with Arnold? Only kidding.
Yeah, I doubt that.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
How funny is it that they became such good friends though after
I know, right?
that rivalry that they had?
Right. That it is. But well, what did he say? He found out that they were so much alike
Yeah,
that it was inevitable.
yeah,
You
pretty
know.
much. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's so into painting. It might be an artist.
Yeah.
He loves horses and the equestrian field. It might be somebody, a polo player or equestrian rider that we don't even know about that he admires or he would like to swap with.
Sure.
But I'm sure whoever's swapping with him wouldn't mind swapping to be
Yeah.
Sly.
Yeah, I know, right? Was that movie
Had a
Trading Places?
pretty darn good life. Yeah. What's the one where they swap the Freaky Friday?
Freaky
Where the mom and the
Friday.
daughter swap.
Yeah, Trading Places. Wasn't that one with Dan Aykroyd and
Yeah,
Eddie
remember the
Murphy?
bum became the rich guy?
Yeah, yeah.
Eddie Murphy.
Right. That yeah, I wonder. Well, that kind of goes hand in hand with the question I had was, if lightning didn't strike, what type of blue collar job would he
Yeah.
gravitate towards? It's kind of on the playing field there,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
what? Where would he? Where would his attention gravitate towards?
Well, I mean, it's a great question because, like I've taught my daughters, what do you want to do with your life? You want to go after this, you want to go after that, but you need a backup plan. So
Sure.
what was Sly's backup plan? I want to be a
Right.
writer. I want to make this film. I'm making Rocky. I'm going to be Rocky. And if it just didn't happen, years and years and years went by, it didn't happen. Would he have inevitably been like, all right, look, I gotta
Yeah.
figure something out here.
I don't think he wanted to be a movie usher for the rest of his life.
No, no, no. Looks more like a bouncer.
Yeah, right. I don't know.
But I don't know,
Good
Stace.
question, Stacy. Good
You
question.
definitely probably could ask him the question yourself, I'm sure.
Yeah, right.
She's right up there next to Mike. So
That's right.
all right, so we got Mr. Tony D, who's up next. Look at Tony. He's another one who's
There he
always
is.
smiling and happy. Tony
Yeah.
has the energy of a 4-year-old downing 4 espressos and a Red Bull.
I know, right?
I get tired watching him.
I know.
He's a great guy. I had the pleasure of meeting Tony and his family when I went to Philly and met Carl Weathers. And
that's nice. That's
real
nice.
good guys. Kids are beautiful, good Rocky fans, and it was so much fun to finally meet them. It's like we all talk to each other and message and this and that and chat. But it's kind of nice of it. But anyway, so Tony's question for Sly. Now, anybody who knows Tony D knows that Tony's not short of words, so it's going to take me a minute to read this. Tony, okay. I love you, buddy, but there's a lot here. Nearly 50 years after the release of Rocky, the city of Philadelphia identifies with this character as much as ever. Music from the Rocky films is still played at nearly every Philly sporting event. Images of Rocky can be seen all over the city. And when people across the country think of Philly, they think of Rocky and vice versa. Rocky is obviously not the first film to be set and filmed in a real-life city, but there isn't any other character to city relationship as strong as the one between Rocky and Philly. So he wants to know why is that the case? Why is that such a stronger bond than if The Godfather in New York or I don't know. I can't think of anybody else that's tied to a city right now, but he wants to know why is it such a strong one between Rocky and Philly?
Wow. Let's take a step back. What was the reason he chose Philly? I mean, I knew he lived there for a short time.
Yeah, he did live there for sure, but he also liked that it was, it had the docks, it had the city, it had the grind, the urban, the blue collar guys, the underdog city, so to speak.
Okay.
And for him wanting to make it there, I think that's why they did attach to it. They saw basically Philadelphia became the living embodiment of Rocky. If Philly was a person, it was Rocky, who was a down and out, bum from the neighborhood who's just trying to make ends meet. And
that's a great analogy, Tony. Absolutely. I think you absolutely hit the nail on the head with that one. I mean, you go back and you look at the football games with the Philadelphia Eagles fans, and they have a reputation of being some hard-nosed, tough fans. They threw batteries and snowballs at Santa Claus.
Yep. The only one that's safe is Rocky.
You know,
The only
so I
one.
mean, you've got this hard-nosed people who live there who just grind it out day after day after day, and they can completely relate with Rocky, the
Yeah.
person, because
Yeah.
Rocky is not a character in their world. He is
No,
a
no. I mean,
person.
I posted that comedian Sebastian Maniscalco who said, "Let's get something straight. Rocky was real. It
Yeah,
really happened." You
yeah,
know, and that's how he felt. And it's funny, but there are some people that don't have it's separate.
yeah. There's no
I mean,
disconnect.
when they see him when he goes to the Philly Eagles games and he's out there going like this, but from his seat, the stadium is chanting Rocky. They're not
Yeah,
chanting Sly.
right, right. Absolutely.
And I think, like you said, they work in the docks. He went running by the docks. He ran up the steps that they drive by to go to work every day.
Yep.
It's just such a part of them and a part of their intertwined lifestyle.
Right.
He wasn't. It wasn't. Like I said, if Philly was a person, it would be Rocky. That's just really the end of my opinion.
I think that's a great analogy, and I think we could end that right there because it's like Superman and Clark Kent. They're one and
Yeah.
the same.
Exactly. Exactly. I
Batman and
mean,
Bruce Wayne.
I know there, like Tony said, that there's other films that were set with the city being a big part of the character, and I unfortunately can't think of one off the top of my head, with the exception of, like I said, The Godfather with Vito Corleone or Michael Corleone with New York. But again, it's just not even close. I mean, if you think of L.A. or Boston or some of these other bigger cities, the character doesn't resonate as much as it does for Philly.
Right. It doesn't. Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
city keeps them alive anyway. I mean, like Tony said, there's posters, there's statues, there's T-shirts for a
He's
movie
at the
that's
visitor center. You know,
yeah,
you come
yeah,
to
it
Philly,
is.
there's a statue of him at the visitor
Yeah,
center. You
yeah.
know,
Before the Eagles games, they got the Adrian comes on and says, "I want you to do something for me." Win. The whole stadium goes nuts, and
right.
Rocky music starts coming on, and so they keep the spirit alive. And I think it'll go on for eternity. I really do.
I
That's just
do
my
too.
opinion. I don't see something ever stopping it. I really don't.
No, no. It's quick funny story is we were out of town today and for the majority of the day and we were in this office and guy looks at me, the doc looks at me and he's like, Front Street Gym. I'm like, not many people know what that is.
Right, right.
If you're not in our world, you don't have no idea. I'm like, yeah, you know what that is? He's like, yeah, I'm from Philly. I just moved up here. I'm like, okay, let's talk.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah,
And what's so funny about them realizing that or seeing it? I had something similar happen to me. I had one of my hats on, one of my Slide Shop hats on. I think it was
yeah.
the Stallion logo.
Okay.
And we were checking into a hotel, and the young man behind the counter, he might have been 25,
No kidding.
and he was checking me out and ID this and that, and he's looking and he goes, "Is that a Rocky hat?" Now, first of all, I was blown away that he knew that.
Yeah, right.
I said, actually, it is. And he's like, my dad loves those films. He goes, I remember watching those with my dad growing up. He goes, we actually just came back from seeing the statue last week.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
And I was like, that's what it's about. I mean, my girl's because of me. And that's why I don't think it's ever going to go anywhere. It's something that, yeah, you can go to Philly and experience it all yourself. But if you don't have that opportunity, you can put 6 DVDs in and watch
Mhm.
them time and time again and get it and still
Right,
pass it along generation.
right.
So crazy.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. I have one from our very far away supporter, Miss Karina,
Oh yeah.
all the way from Romania.
I know.
Actually, I was surprised Karina asked this.
What's it like?
Working with
4 o'clock in
20,
the morning when she watches us?
something like that. Yeah. Whenever our
Yeah.
show's on or Rocky Files are on, she always just pops on and says hi and then leaves because she has to go to bed.
I'm like, what are you doing up?
I know, right? She wants to know how it was and what it was like and experience working with Tony Burton in all 6 of the films. And which I thought was a great question because I think personally he's one of the most understated or underrated sub characters, so to speak, of
Yeah.
that saga. To be very honest, I rank him right up there with Paulie as far as like
Oh
the
yeah.
the influence of the films. That he's that much of a I don't consider like that fantastic level, Adrian, Paulie, Mickey, Apollo. But Duke is right there.
Oh yeah, because without Duke, Apollo wasn't Apollo, because Duke has brought him along.
Yeah.
Duke, Duke he loves him, he's got his heart, he's got his back.
Yep.
What are you doing messing with this guy? And
Yep.
yeah,
But he brought so much passion to the role and so much enthusiasm to the role. And it just got more involved in each of the films too, which I like. I wish he was in 5 more than just that little opening scene. Like we never saw him again after that.
right.
And I get there's kind of no reason to see him again after that, but I don't know. They could have maybe worked it out a little bit somehow.
Right. I remember seeing him in Balboa when he goes to jump the top rope like he did in was it 4? Oops.
Yep. He's on the
I felt so
ground.
bad for Tony.
Yeah, and at that point he was up there in age too. He wasn't a spring chicken.
Props for getting that high, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
You got to take it easy.
He's always in pretty good shape, but yeah, he was always the voice of reason. He had the passion. He wasn't soft skinned or thin skinned, however you want to put it, but he even from Rocky on. He didn't have much to do obviously with Rocky in the original except to hopefully convince Apollo like this guy's no pushover.
Yeah.
Which obviously he didn't do.
This guy's no good for us, baby.
I love the scene where he sees him on TV and you hear Apollo in the background ordering flowers and pictures and stuff. And he's like, why don't you come over here and watch this guy on TV? You're going to be fine. He looks like he means business. He's like, yeah. I mean business. I mean business too.
Right.
And you see Tony's face. He's like looking at him like, you better be careful there, brother.
That's right. And like you said, the passion that he brought to the role. You look back at 4, whether it's the director's cut or just the the original, where he's saying his dialogue, his monologue, whatever it is, and just the spit is flying out of his mouth.
Spit's flying out. He's crying. He's sweating.
Oh yeah, he's down. He's just like going to town with it.
Oh come on! You watch that scene for that 11 seconds. You want to get up and you could run through a wall.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Crazy.
Yeah, Tony was the man. Tony was the man. I loved him in Balboa. Here he is. He's gray. He got the gray mustache. Time to deliver some hitting bombs.
Yep. Because of the neck snap.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So you got another one there?
I do. I gotta get my glasses on. Uh-oh. Where'd it go? Okay. Here it is.
I think it's Miss Jen, right? If I remember.
Yes, it is.
Jen
she
B,
would like
Jen
to know which Rocky co-stars does he keep in touch with the most?
Very good question. You sit here as a fan thinking, are they texting each other? Are they, hey, Merry Christmas? Or are they going out to dinner here and there? It's nice to think like that. I'm sure they don't see each other as often as we think they might, but
right.
But I don't know I couldn't pinpoint which one it would be. I don't know.
Well, a co-star probably would be, later down the road would definitely be Arnold because, the escape plan and, these,
well, she said did she say which Rocky co-stars?
Did she say Rocky or did she?
I thought that's what you said.
Let me.
Or she just say which co-stars?
Mm.
I thought you said Rocky. Maybe you didn't.
Oh, you're
Go
right.
ahead.
Which Rocky? I'm okay.
Okay.
CRS.
So that's awesome. So
um,
which right? Yeah, I mean, between how busy they well, put it in layman's terms, okay? I have coworkers from jobs that I was at,
yep.
and yeah, here and there we'll exchange texts. Hey, how you been? How's it going? Yada yada yada, or even close enough to where you're wishing them, Merry Christmas and Happy
Hmm.
Birthday and whatever. Uh, Maybe once in a while you're getting together for dinner or a drink, but it's very few and far between,
Right, right.
for the most part.
I
I mean,
remember. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
no, 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 no.
I
Go.
remember. Oh boy, I'm not gonna. I can't think of the actor's name, but I remember him giving an interview, and he was stating, it might even been Rocky related or Stallone related that, here we are. You would think that we're best of friends,
Right,
but in reality, we don't even know each other outside
right,
the studio. We
right. I
come
mean,
in,
and some do. Some co-stars and some people that work closely together. Picture after picture after picture. Yeah, they develop a little bit of a bond, and they'll develop a little relationship.
right, right,
But for the most part, yeah, you're right. They kind of really don't know each other, and you got to remember too. Sometimes they may not be with each other as much as the movie reflects.
I was just going to say that they could be filming
So,
here and there, in two
mhm,
two different times.
yeah, yeah. So who knows? I mean, I'm sure guys like, I mean, I would assume Dolph Lundgren's somebody that he frequently converses with or talks with or see. He
Right.
seems like they have a bit of a relationship. They've worked on Expendables, all the Expendables. They worked on Rocky 4,
Hmm.
uh, Creed 2.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, he's never done anything again with Talia Shire, but he
No.
also did 5 films with her, as his wife. I mean, so I'm sure, I don't know. It just really depends on the lifestyle that they live. Plus, also, too, who knows where they live?
Right.
I mean,
Right.
he's living in Florida for the most part. Dolph lives in LA, but does he live in Sweden too? I mean, I don't know where else he lives, and the
Hmm.
majority of the time he lives where he lives.
Well,
So who
you see
knows?
him at the pizza place there, not too long ago. It was Sly was with Dolph, and
Yeah,
maybe Frank and Pacino might have been there at the same time,
yeah,
or it was
yeah,
one of those times, you
yeah,
know. So, but it does look like he kind of hangs out with him or speaks to him more on occasion,
yeah.
you
I mean,
know.
but he even said too. I mean, Henry Winkler, who he's known since the Lords of Flatbush days and even prior, um, it just seems like he's the kind of guy that once you're in his phone, you're in his phone.
Right.
And you'll always get a "Hey, happy birthday, brother," or "Hey, I'm in town. Let's go grab a drink." I don't know. I could be speculating for some of the people. I mean, he's known Al Pacino forever,
Yeah.
and we discussed that they never worked together, but they've been friendly with each other for years.
Well, here's one. Stan. I'm drawing a blank on his last name, but he was a Dipper Brown in Rocky. Okay. And there was there again, going back to another question, deleted scenes when Rocky punches Dipper Brown outside
Hmm.
the ring, right? So
Hmm.
Stan, I wish I could. It's not.
Winston, is it
I thought
Winston?
I was thinking Howard, but I'm not positive.
I don't know.
Anyhow, he was in um, Daylight.
Yes,
Okay, so we talked about this episodes ago. It's like, hey, hey,
Dan Shaw.
Stan Shaw. Yeah. Hey, hey Stan, it's Sly. I got this part coming up in this movie Daylight. You were in Rocky. What do you think? Or was it like you said? Did Stan see the part or go for a casting call? You know,
Right.
do these people?
Or is it the casting directors? Sly always seems to be a producer in every one of his films because obviously the type of creator that he is, he likes to be very involved,
Right.
which I don't blame him. I would be too.
Oh yeah.
But so I'm assuming maybe the casting director, the producer, him, okay, we need this part for Joe Schmo. He's like 6'3" and muscle black guy. He might be like, oh, wait, don't even read for it. I got the perfect guy.
Yeah, call
I
Stan.
don't know. I mean, yeah, it might be. So
or Frank McRae, Eclipse, and then he also played in Lords of Flatbush. What was the wrestler boxer?
he was Rocky too. Also, remember the meat foreman, the butcher,
Yeah,
meat shop
absolutely.
foreman.
So he was
Yeah.
in 3 movies with Stallone.
Yeah,
I forgot all about that one.
yeah. Meat
Wow.
butcher. Well, that's like want to go from one end of the spectrum to the other. In Paradise Alley, remember he was with Armand Assante.
Okay. Yep.
Right. What other movie was he with Armand Assante?
Oh boy.
Years and years later. Years later.
Not Oscar. Was it Oscar?
No.
Armand Assante. Wow, that's a good question.
He was in 2 movies that I know of besides Paradise Alley.
Okay.
One was around the same time as Paradise Alley, Lords of Flatbush.
Okay.
And Judge Dredd was the other one.
Oh no! See, I haven't seen Judge Dredd in a minute. So, although I did,
yeah, well, I haven't either. I mean, but remember now, Paradise Alley, he was one of the brothers. He was Lenny.
Yes,
was
yes.
it Lenny, right?
I think so.
Yeah, well, Lenny Carboni. yeah, Kid Salami, exactly.
But there you go. I mean, now we've got Frank McRae, Stan Shaw. Is that right?
Yep.
And Armand Assante. Those are 3 people. Well, we got Dolph Lundgren. 4 people that have been recast in his other movies that he's brought along with him. So,
yeah, and there can't be no coincidence that that's happening. Like he has to have some input about it.
Right.
Now, how much input, I don't know.
To answer that question, there's a pretty good chance he keeps in touch with people he's done
I would think
projects with.
I would think so. But now in Armand Assante, the only reason why I knew that was a trivia question from way back when that I read. He doesn't play like he's in a wedding or something, or he's not really like a named part. It wasn't like he was.
Oh, okay.
Obviously, it wasn't Henry Winkler's part. It wasn't Perry King's part. He was like a nobody, basically.
Okay.
But obviously in Judge Dredd, he wasn't. I haven't seen Judge Dredd in a long time too, so
yeah,
it's been a while for me.
Yeah, definitely got to check that one out again.
Yeah, well, that's like the little head-to-head surveys we're having on the 90s movies. Some of them are surprising me. Like the first one didn't surprise me. Assassins and Demolition Man. Man, Assassins didn't even get a vote. Demo Man won in a landslide.
Really?
And then the second round was oh my goodness, I forgot my own posts. Second round was Judge Dredd and Specialist.
Right.
And that was a little closer. Specialist won by 2.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, they only won by 2, but that surprised me because I knew a lot of people like Judge Dredd.
See, I'm a big Specialist fan. I love that movie.
Yeah, so that won by 2, and now the one that's going on right now is Daylight and Lockup.
Oh,
as of right now, Lockup is winning pretty heavily.
Yeah, Lockup's a great movie. Although, I mean, you can't go wrong with sitting down to either one of them.
No. Here's the dilemma I was thinking, like we need to discuss. We said we were going to do Sly's 90s movies.
Yes.
Now, Sly only made so many movies in the 90s, obviously. But Rocky V is one of those movies.
Okay.
So it's like, is it even fair to put Rocky V against any of them? Will they automatically pick Rocky V? Or are you really, truly deciding what is the better film?
Well, I guess if you got to put it in there because it is a 90s movie.
Yeah.
And you got to go with don't lie to yourself.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way I look at it. I just look at it like, what is the better film? I'm going to put Rocky V up against whomever. What's the better film? That's it. If you pick it, you pick it. But we'll see. So, yeah, it's kind of cool. So we'll be taking the winners. Like I said, the Demolition Man won, Specialist won. We're waiting on Daylight Lockup, and then we have the others. Then we'll take all those winners. They'll go against each other, kind of like a playoff bracket,
Okay.
down to
Okay.
the final winner. It's just for fun, just for something to post.
Yeah. And wasn't James Woods great in The Specialist, and Sharon Stone and
James Goods. I like James Woods. He's awesome. He's just great in almost anything I've ever seen him do.
Eric Roberts.
He's another one. I think he's underrated too. Wasn't Eric Roberts in
Julia?
No. I know that. No, he was in that. What other Sly film was he in? Eric Roberts.
Boy.
Was he in another one too, or no? Am I thinking somebody else?
I'm
I
drawing
thought he was in another film.
Maybe later on. There was a couple of other ones that come out, kind of flew under the radar, and I'm having a tough brain night tonight. But
was he in The Expendables?
Not the first one. Not the second. No, I was thinking maybe I was leaning maybe towards.
No. He was in the first one.
Eric Roberts was in the first one.
Yeah, he was in the first one. James Monroe.
Oh,
yeah. I knew I saw him later on again. I couldn't remember which one. I only saw The Expendables like twice each. I really didn't see them like a lot.
Well, there's another number in the phone book for you, for Sly. So now we're up to 5. Yeah.
Exactly right. No, but this is cool. Good stuff. I like this. So I don't know if we're gonna have a part 4. I think we're out of questions. So I think we'll be holding it off at part 3.
Yeah.
We only have like 2 other questions that were second questions of people that had already asked. So we'll kind of just, I guess, end it with part 3.
We don't want to bombard the man either.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he'll be
writing
sitting
all
there
day.
3 hours answering questions.
Yeah. Will you guys please stop?
We're like, Jesus, guys, leave me alone.
I know, right?
Hey, if he answers one question, I'd be ecstatic.
Oh, no doubt.
No
doubt.
Good stuff.
Which one?
Friend.
Which one?
I don't care. I really don't.
We want to know about the bourbon, Sly.
I forgot. Yes. Please answer the bourbon for Rick. Please. I'm about to just make a label and pour bourbon in it myself and just give it to you.
I sound like I'm an alcoholic or something. It's one of those things, like you see something at Christmas time and you're like, oh my God, and you're a little kid, you're like, I want this so bad. Yeah. It could be G.I. Joe, whatever, whatever it may be. It's just one of those things I'm like, I just want. It's an intangible. It's an unreachable.
When I first saw it, I thought it said Stallion. I didn't know it said Stallone.
Oh, really?
Like, that's so cool. He named it Stallion Bourbon. That's awesome.
That would have been really cool too.
Imagine like the head was a stallion head instead of a cork.
Oh my God.
Right?
Yeah.
See?
Yeah, I'd pay big money.
Hey, Sly, come on. Let Rick and I design the bottle.
Yes.
Okay, we got you.
I'd sell a kid or two to get him a bottle of that. I'm only kidding, kids. You guys know me well enough.
All righty, my friend. Well, let's wrap up this one. Next episode is going to be interesting. We'll see where this one's going to go.
Okay.
We'll
give
you a hint. You think we're winging it when we have a topic. We'll just leave it at that.
Don't give it away.
Exactly. All righty, brother. We'll see everybody next week. Thank you for tuning in as always.
Yes, thank you. We do appreciate it.
We do. Appreciate it as much. Very much. Have a good night. We'll see everybody next week.